David Muir, ABC's World News Tonight, America's most watched newscast. Now streaming same day with all the breaking news of the day on Disney Plus. Most watched, most trusted. Now on Disney Plus every night.
Tonight, the breaking news on this Friday night, the new ICE arrests drawing outrage at this hour. Tonight, multiple witnesses telling ABC News that federal agents ate lunch in a Mexican restaurant outside Minneapolis and then followed the staff after closing time. This video reportedly showing officers arresting 3 of the workers from the restaurant where they were eating. Tonight, newly released documents also revealing the chaotic moments right after that mother of 3 was shot and killed in her SUV.
Can I go check a pulse?
No! Back up! Now!
What we've now learned about this, and just in tonight, there's news the Justice Department is now investigating Minnesota Governor Tim Walz and Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey. Matt Rivers live in Minneapolis with the breaking developments. Tonight, 24 hours after giving President Trump her Nobel Peace Prize, the president calling the Venezuelan opposition leader a fine woman, but he won't back her as Venezuela's new leader. And tonight, the president doubling down on his effort to take over Greenland. The U.S. allies, Germany, UK, France among them, sending troops now to Greenland to protect them from the U.S. threat. On this Friday night, 2 storm systems set to slam the east. Tonight, the Clipper system in the northeast. Then the system that could bring snow all the way down to Florida, Georgia, and then move right up the coast into the northeast. Lee Goldberg standing by with the forecast. Tonight, the alarming new numbers on deaths from the flu, multiple pediatric deaths among them, including a 2-year-old boy from New Jersey who was discharged with a 101 fever. It all comes after the CDC halted recommendations for the flu shot for children and what some doctors are now urging tonight. The other breaking health headline involves Tylenol and pregnancy and what it now shows, this new study. The massive inferno breaking out, the flames shooting into the air, the heat could be felt across the community. From Los Angeles tonight, the dramatic police chase, the stolen box truck, and what police had to do to stop it. Tonight, the collision on the tracks between a train and a robot that was delivering food. This evening, singer John Mellencamp and what he's now revealing about his daughter's battle with cancer and the very difficult turn. And tonight, Dolly Parton and some of her friends right here, you'll know them, Lainey Wilson, Miley Cyrus, Queen Latifah, Reba McEntire, and what they've all done tonight. And it's a special night for Dolly Parton.
From ABC News World Headquarters in New York, this is World News Tonight with David Muir.
Good evening. We do begin tonight with the breaking news. The tension and anger growing in Minneapolis at this hour. Violent clashes between protesters and federal agents. And tonight, outrage growing over a series of new arrests. Tonight, multiple witnesses telling ABC News that federal agents ate lunch at a Mexican restaurant outside Minneapolis, then followed the staff after closing time. Video reportedly showing officers then arresting 3 of the workers from that restaurant where the officers were eating earlier in the day. Also tonight here, newly released documents revealing new details about the moments following that deadly ICE shooting of Renee Good in her SUV. We now know she was shot in the chest, the arm, and they say possibly in the head. The vehicle then appearing to accelerate there, crashing into parked cars. And just in tonight, news coming in that the Justice Department is now investigating Minnesota Governor Tim Walz and Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey. ABC's Matt Rivers leading us off from Minneapolis tonight.
Tonight, new police, fire, and 911 dispatch logs detail the chaotic moments after ICE agent Jonathan Ross shot Renee Good. The first calls coming in at 9:38 a.m., one telling dispatchers there's 15 ICE agents and they shot her, because she wouldn't open her car door.
Can I go check a pulse?
No! Back up! Now!
I'm a physician!
I don't care. We understand. We got EMS coming.
Paramedics arrived at 9:42 a.m., reporting Good had 2 gunshots to the right chest, 1 gunshot to the left forearm, and an additional wound on the left side of her head, which the report called a, quote, possible gunshot wound. The dispatch logs indicate local law enforcement had to evacuate ICE agents from the scene because of the crowds.
So what we're seeing here is a couple dozen officers that have come out of the federal building there in riot gear, pushing the protesters that have been out front of the building all day long back onto the sidewalk. They have threatened people with arrest if they don't comply.
I can't breathe. Hey, back up!
Overnight, officers taking at least 4 people into custody.
We were on our way home from our oldest son's basketball game in South Minneapolis.
On Wednesday, Destiny Jackson had her husband and 6 kids in the car, including a 6-month-old, when she got caught in chaotic protests after ICE shot a Venezuelan man during a traffic stop.
And then one of them or two of them stopped at my car and was just like, get the F out of here. And I'm like, we're trying, but in that instance, I'm like, don't you put your foot on that gas, because I'd be damned if they try to shoot us like Renee by saying that we hit them with our car. Immediately, once they got behind our car, they rolled tear gas under it.
They say grenades detonated their airbags, trapping them inside as gas filled their van. Then their 6-month-old baby stopped breathing.
Having to get my baby mouth to mouth and people pouring milk all over my other kids. I thought I was dying, honestly.
Thankfully, everyone now okay.
Where are we supposed to go?
Homeland Security says they've made more than 2,500 arrests since Operation Metro Surge began in December. Many of the violent takedowns caught on camera.
Stop kneeing him in the face!
Multiple witnesses telling ABC News federal agents ate lunch in a Mexican restaurant outside Minneapolis Thursday, then followed staff after closing time. This video showing officers then arresting 3 of them. President Trump, who has threatened to send in active U.S. troops using the Insurrection Act, seeming to dial it back today.
If I needed it, I'd use it. I don't think there's any reason right now to use it, but if I needed it, I'd use it. It's very powerful.
And David, tonight, multiple sources telling ABC News that a federal investigation has now been opened into Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey and Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, looking into whether they may have obstructed law enforcement activity here in the state. And David, just moments ago, the governor of Minnesota, Tim Walz, responding, saying in part, weaponizing the justice system and threatening political opponents is a dangerous authoritarian tactic. David.
We can see the protesters gathering there again tonight behind you. Matt Rivers leading us off. Thank you, Matt. Tonight, we're also tracking 2 storm systems at this hour, set to slam the east. Take a look tonight, the Clipper system in the northeast. And then the second system that could bring snow all the way down to Florida and Georgia and then move right up the coast into the northeast. So let's get right to WABC Chief Meteorologist Lee Goldberg back with us tonight. Hey, Lee.
Hey, David, it is a dual snow threat, but not blockbuster storms. We're watching that Clipper come from the Midwest and the Great Lakes, and it's headed into the Northeast. It'll have multiple rounds of snow. We already have winter weather advisories. The first round arrives overnight, Hudson Valley of New York, then into New York City by midday tomorrow. And this one will drop the most snow west of the I-95 corridor. The coastal storm on Sunday comes out of the southeast with the snow in Florida and southern Georgia, rain along the East Coast, but then spreads snow in the Northeast, basically east of I-95, Jersey Shore, Long Island, up into Cape Cod. So by the end of the weekend, coating to a couple inches along the coast, up to 6 inches inland. For everyone, it's cold after that. David?
Lee Goldberg with us again tonight. Lee, thank you. Tonight, 24 hours after giving President Trump her Nobel Peace Prize, the president now calling the Venezuelan opposition leader a fine woman. The president keeping the Nobel Peace Prize, but still not backing her as Venezuela's new leader. And tonight, the president also doubling down on his effort to take over Greenland. This evening, U.S. allies, including Germany, the UK, and France, now sending troops to Greenland to protect them from U.S. threats to take them. Mary Bruce at the White House.
Tonight, President Trump heaping praise on Venezuelan opposition leader Maria Corina Machado, one day after she gave him the Nobel Peace Prize she won and he wanted.
I never met her before, and I was very, very impressed. She's this is a fine woman.
But Trump still won't back Machado to lead Venezuela. Today, his CIA director John Ratcliffe in Caracas meeting with Nicolas Maduro's former vice president Delcy Rodriguez. After Maduro was captured by the U.S., Rodriguez becoming acting president. Today, Machado not mincing words.
She's a communist. She's the main ally and representation of the Russian regime, the Chinese and the Iranians.
But Trump wants to work with Maduro's former vice president anyway. Today telling me another government shakeup in Venezuela would create chaos.
Why align with Delcy Rodriguez and the remnants of the Maduro regime and not with Machado, who has the support of the Venezuelan people?
Well, if you ever remember a place called Iraq where everybody was fired, every single person, the police, the generals, everybody was fired, and they ended up being ISIS. Instead of just getting down to business, they ended up being ISIS. So I remember that.
The opposition leader who gave Trump her Nobel Prize still convinced she will be elected president of Venezuela.
I believe I will be elected when the right time comes as president of Venezuela.
It comes as Trump redoubles efforts to take over another country, Greenland, a territory long controlled by our NATO ally, Denmark. Now, 6 other NATO countries, including Germany, France, and the UK, moving forces to Greenland in a show of support for Denmark. Trump today threatening to punish NATO allies that get in his way.
I may put a tariff on countries if they don't go along with Greenland.
And again, David, NATO countries now sending troops to Greenland to help protect against the U.S. and the president threatening those new tariffs if our allies try to interfere with his plans. David.
Mary Bruce with us all week long here. Mary, thank you. Tonight, the unfolding situation in Iran. President Trump now saying the Iranian regime has held off on the potential execution of hundreds of protesters. The president tonight saying, I greatly respect the fact that they canceled. Let's get right to our chief foreign correspondent, Ian Pannell, from the region again tonight. Ian?
Yeah, David, after a brutal crackdown in Iran and President Trump vowing help is on the way, he's now thanking the regime, posting, I greatly respect the fact that all scheduled hangings which were to take place yesterday, over 800 of them, have been cancelled by the leadership of Iran. Now, it's not possible to verify the president's claims, and in a sign that the crisis may not have passed, the Pentagon expected to send more military assets to the Middle East, possibly including the USS Lincoln carrier strike group seen here steaming towards the region. David?
All right, Ian Pannell from the region again tonight. Ian, thank you. Tonight back here in the U.S., the alarming new numbers coming in on deaths from the flu in this country. Multiple pediatric deaths among them, including a 2-year-old boy from New Jersey who was discharged with a 101 fever. It all comes after the CDC halted recommendations for the flu shot for children in this country and what some doctors are now urging tonight. Here's Rhiannon Ally.
Tonight, new numbers from the CDC show an alarming surge of Americans dying from the flu, up 25% since last week. The number of pediatric deaths reported nearly doubling to 32 so far this season. Hackensack University Medical Center in New Jersey has been on the front lines in the fight against the flu.
People are getting sicker. Some have come to the ER, but what we are seeing is what we call is secondary complications of the flu.
New Jersey reporting its first death of a child. 2-year-old Isaiah Castillo went to the ER with a 101 fever. His mother says he was sent home with instructions to take pain and fever-reducing medication. His fever dropping slightly, but she says it spiked that night to 105 and he started having seizures.
I was scared. I screamed for my husband to call 911.
Isaiah died the next day at the hospital.
I will never be the same. My family will never be the same.
Isaiah's mother says he had not yet gotten the flu vaccine. The surge in flu deaths comes after the CDC dropped its universal recommendation that children get the vaccine. But leading medical groups are still urging every American 6 months and older to get one.
Take the vaccine, please. It will help with the symptoms, the duration, and the severity of it. And I think that's a very important message.
David, doctors say it is not too late to get vaccinated. 90% of pediatric deaths were unvaccinated children. David.
Rhiannon Ally with us tonight. Rhiannon, thank you. Tonight, the suspect charged with killing Charlie Kirk was in court. Tyler Robinson's attorneys are trying to get the prosecutors kicked off the case. Here's Trevor Ault.
Tonight, Charlie Kirk's accused killer, Tyler Robinson, appearing in a Utah court, watching silently as his defense attorneys argue the entire team of prosecutors should be disqualified from the case.
There was a family member of a prosecutor who was present at Utah Valley University at the Charlie Kirk rally.
Robinson's attorneys say the 18-year-old child of one of the prosecutors was standing less than 100 feet away from Charlie Kirk when he was shot and killed last September. The defense suggesting to the judge the prosecution's pursuit of the death penalty may have been motivated by personal emotion.
If I had found out that my child was at an incident where somebody was shot and killed, I would have an incredibly strong emotional reaction.
Prosecutors reject that argument, saying Robinson's attorneys are trying to get someone more lenient assigned to the case.
As opposing counsel, you don't like the offer you're getting, the way the prosecution is being handled. You allege a conflict of interest.
And David, the judge has not yet ruled on whether or not the prosecution would be disqualified on this case. They will first listen to relevant witness testimony, and that could potentially include that one prosecutor's 18-year-old child. David.
Trevor Ault in Los Angeles. Trevor, thank you. Also out of L.A. tonight, a wild police chase unfolding. Police releasing video of this dramatic pursuit of an alleged stolen box truck. Officers say the suspect drove recklessly through several neighborhoods, prompting police to deliberately hit the truck, causing it then to spin out of control right there. The suspect tried to run away, but officers quickly surrounding him and putting him under arrest. When we come back on this Friday night, the major new headline on Tylenol and pregnant women and what this new study now reveals. Also, the massive inferno breaking out. Look at this, the flames shooting into the air. The heat could be felt right across that community. Also, the heart-pounding moments as an avalanche engulfs an entire ski resort. You can see the pictures right here. We'll explain. Also tonight, singer John Mellencamp and what he's now revealing about his daughter's battle with cancer and the very difficult turn tonight. And later here, Dolly Parton, some of her friends, Lainey Wilson, Miley Cyrus, Queen Latifah, Reba McEntire, what they have all done together tonight, who they're helping, and by the way, why this day is so special for Dolly in a moment here. Tonight, the alarming scene, massive flames erupting at a timber factory in Virginia. The fire touching off explosions and brush fires just outside Richmond Thursday night. Drone videos showing the fire engulfing the plywood plant that had been closed down. Fire crews quickly putting out the inferno. No word on what caused the fire and no injuries reported. From Russia tonight, the heart-stopping moments as a controlled avalanche roars down a mountainside. That enormous wall of snow engulfing a ski resort at Mount Elbrus. Witnesses were stunned by the images of that snow coming down. Officials said this was a planned avalanche triggered to lessen the risk from uncontrolled snow slides. There were no reports of any injuries from this. The health headline tonight, the major new study just released on Tylenol and pregnancy. A team of scientists calling it the strongest evidence ever, showing that when pregnant women use Tylenol, it doesn't cause their children to become autistic. Researchers in The Lancet say they combed through data of 60 studies looking at more than 1 million children. They say despite the position taken by the U.S. government, they did not find that taking Tylenol during pregnancy causes autism, attention deficit, or hyperactivity in children. When we come back here tonight, the collision on the tracks between a train and a robot that was delivering food here in the U.S., and you'll see it. Plus singer John Mellencamp and what he's now revealing about his daughter's battle with cancer and the very difficult turn tonight. To the index of other news tonight, a robot delivering food in the U.S. run over by a train in Miami. The video showing a commuter train barreling through with the robot stuck at a rail crossing, demolishing the robot on Thursday night right there. The delivery device crushed and dragged. Witnesses say the delivery robot appeared motionless and stuck on those tracks for at least 15 minutes before that train came through. Tonight, musician John Mellencamp speaking out about his daughter's cancer diagnosis. On a podcast, Mellencamp revealed that his daughter Teddy is really sick and suffering. Teddy revealed last year that her skin cancer reached stage 4 after tumors were found on her lungs and her brain. We are thinking about her and the family tonight. When we come back on this Friday evening, Dolly Parton and some of her friends right here, Lainey Wilson, Miley Cyrus, Queen Latifah, Reba McEntire, what they have all done together, and you'll hear it, and who they're helping, our Persons of the Week. Finally tonight here, Dolly Parton and who she's helping, our Persons of the Week.
I can see the light of a clear blue morning.
Tonight, Dolly Parton celebrating her 80th birthday as only Dolly can. Bringing together some friends for a good cause. Lainey Wilson. Miley Cyrus.
I've been looking for the sunshine, you know, an eagle's born.
Queen Latifah, Reba McEntire. Singing a song that Dolly first recorded nearly 50 years ago, Light of a Clear Blue Morning. Dolly now re-recording her song for her birthday, with the proceeds going to pediatric cancer research at Monroe Carroll Jr. Children's Hospital at Vanderbilt in Nashville, Tennessee. And right here tonight, that Children's Hospital with a message.
Good evening, David.
Dr. Juan Salazar.
We are so incredibly grateful to Dolly Parton for her longtime friendship and for her generous support of our pediatric research program.
They're young patients with a message too. 4-year-old Rowan.
Thank you, Dolly. Happy birthday.
And 17-year-old Kylie.
Happy birthday, Dolly.
And their care teams with a birthday wish for Dolly.
Happy birthday, Dolly! Happy birthday, Dolly!
Thank you, Dolly. We love you.
Thank you, Dolly. Happy birthday!
Happy birthday, Dolly, our national treasure. I'll see you Monday. Good night.
David Muir, the most trusted anchor in America, the most watched anchor in America. Thank you for making World News Tonight with David Muir the #1 newscast in America.